Hey everybody, we are back, baby. That's right. Welcome to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream, pre-stream, and let's see here. We're got people coming in over on Twitch. Dollar signs gets first comment of the day award. Welcome everybody, and congratulations to Dollar Signs. That's right, folks. We're back to a regular-ish schedule. And we have continued to overcome. We will, we shall, and we have been overcoming. And we're stoked. It's November 2nd, which means that's right, Election Day is just around the corner, folks. So remember, get back to our pseudo-regular schedule here. So you're going to want to make sure to follow us on multiple platforms. The news, all the platforms are up and running again. That's right, YouTube, you're back in the game, so we got to see you come in and come in strong. But remember to also follow us at twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. That's the only way to make the show. Okay, let's go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is November 2nd. 2020. This is episode 260. And today, natural election. That's right. And I've got my eye on you, Swing States, and you know me. I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And this is Gonz. Welcome back to the podcast where we love Jesus, we love you. We are learning to love ourselves, at least I am. And more importantly, love our enemies because Jesus told us to do that, even though it's so hard, Jesus. But but we're back, at least for those of you on the YouTube channel, the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel. You might see that episode 259 did not air on the channel because I got a community strike and for a video I published 4 years ago. And and we took a week off anyway because the birth of my son. That sounds so weird to say. I have a son. It's such a trip. But you held it down, Basil. You're live streaming the game, play, all that stuff was fantastic. I was spying on you.
I know you were. We had a fun little week. We had one little disaster at the end of the week. Baby week Friday wasn't able to stream, but we got in on Monday. Did some gaming for those who missed that. I played Robo Recall, which is I'm convinced is a training simulator for fighting Flippy and ultimately the robot revolution, the robot takeover. That was very fun. A lot of support there. I had a lot of comments that. It was a really new experience. People seeing me in action, putting my money where my mouth is when it comes to defeating robots. Happy to say, I think a lot of people were very impressed. And then on Wednesday, I did a Joyspiracy Theory episode with Twitch friend of the family, Incarnate Unlimited. Yeah. And so everybody enjoyed that very much as well. And thank you very much, Incarnate Unlimited, for being so cool and open and also making the schedule work. And I do want to give a shout out to everybody who emailed me and offered their time to come on and do a Joyspiracy Theory episode. I see you. If you have not heard from me yet, I see you. I love you. I will get back to you. Things have just been crazy. And so, yeah, Gonz, and you had your baby. Baby week accomplished.
And before I tell you about the baby real quick, a couple things. One, for live viewers, this may go down at any moment because, of course, Cox Communications, which is what our internet sits on, decided to do some kind of update or I have no idea. A massive outage thing happening in my area.
Pre-election meddling is what it is.
I know, the day before the elections, and they know people are working from home, but they're like, oh, let's just turn off the internet for all those Canary Cry News Talk listeners. But so just keep that in mind. If we do fall off, I do have some backup stuff planned in terms of trying to stay on the internet. If that doesn't work, then definitely find us later on at canarycrynewstalk.com or look it up on your podcatcher. The episode will be there. But and then one more thing, you mentioned Incarnates Unlimited. I did receive the physical copies of the artwork.
Yes.
So
good.
I'm trying to show it here on the screen. Kind of hard to do. It's a big piece of paper, but now I can have a paper version of the googly eyes. And,
so cool.
Very well done. I'm very
talented.
Impressed. Yeah. So thank you for that.
I've been hearing. I was reminded by some people who have sent some packages that you got to be getting ready to put together a big care package and sending it my way, Gonz.
I know.
I hear there's a lot of things that need to be sent to me.
I was going to do this later, but let me just do it now real quick. Somebody sent us Canary Coffee, Coffee Company, and I have it here for those of you viewing. And it's like yellow coffee. Yeah. It says Canary Coffee Company.
We're not sponsored by Canary Coffee, but whoever sent that, you weren't. I mean, I asked you who sent this. You said you didn't know.
I don't know.
You lost the package or something?
No, there was nothing on the package that would indicate who it's from. Or at least I didn't really.
No return address?
Yeah, but I did see. I remember seeing somebody mention it in an email or something. So if that's you out there, let us know.
Have to look it up. Yeah,
thank you for the coffee.
I like the font. We've considered doing another rebrand. We do a rebrand about every 5 years, but the font on that Canary Coffee is kind of cool. I don't know. I'm going to keep that in mind. I do want to before we get into the show here, I want to give a shout out to $signs in the chat. He says, "Hey, big news, y'all. Got engaged yesterday. So congratulations, $signs.
Congrats. Yeah. Lots of life changes around here.
I know. A lot of things going.
And let me just for the viewers out there, I will I got a picture here of my baby boy. He's in his little he looks like he's some kind of, I don't know.
He's adorable. He looks just like you.
I know. He looks just like me. And it's really weird how I look in the mirror now and I'm like, oh, I guess that's where I get my shape.
Some of the earlier pictures that you were sending me, Gonz, I had the privilege of seeing some of the earliest pictures of Keizo, and when babies are brand spanking new, they look pretty weird. But he was always very cute. But at one point, he did look like an ancient samurai warrior,
ancient samurai alien.
He looked like an old man. He looked very wise.
An old man, vacuumed, for anyone that wants to know.
Oh, we got the little vacuum, huh?
Yeah, so he definitely looked like...
That explains the head shape.
Yes, I was like, no!
He had a little bit of a Nephilim head for a second there.
Yeah, but it all worked out. Mom is doing very, very well. Family's doing great. And just to let people know what the name stands for, Keizo, it's not spelled this way. We dropped the U, Keizo. But the meaning in the kanji, in the Japanese, means blessed 3. So that's what his name means. And interestingly enough, Gonzo, like my name, in the kanji means origin 3.
Ooh, so, Origin 3 sounds like a cool name for something.
I know. So just for you artists and other producers out there, if you want to take that and run with it, please do.
Yeah. And lastly, again, before we just get into it, I can't remember if I already did this or not, but I want to give a sincere thank you to everybody who tuned in for Baby Week. Me trying to hold down the fort. I had to do a lot of last minute technical changes and learning, but I felt very supported. Everybody was very supportive. I was nervous for a few different reasons, but I just want to thank everybody for being so cool. Meant a lot.
I think a lot of News Talk listeners feel comfortable about getting behind you when the robot takeover starts to happen because you can hold your own against them robots.
I gotta say, I did feel pretty good. It felt good to show off my skills for once. I talk about gaming a lot, but to actually put it into action with that might have been the first audience I've ever had while gaming. So thank you. And also you're welcome.
All right. You ready to jump into it here with Flippy update?
Let's do it. Let's get updated with Flippy.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Flippy official in the chat says your robot destroyer game was cool. I sense a little bit of a threatening tone, Flippy official. Okay, this story is coming from TheVerge.com. We're going to kind of take it easy for this Flippy update, but still pretty creepy. So TheVerge.com, the article is titled, Disney's new skinless robot can blink like a human because why not? The article reads, a really creepy picture here. Yeah, if there was ever going to be a movie about Flippy taking over the world, this animatronic would definitely make it into the film. The article reads, once you get past the fact that it has no skin, the new robot from Disney Research is an impressive feat of robotics. First, reported by Gizmodo, the new robot can imitate human facial movements, specifically blinking and subtle head movements. A sensor in the chest area, covered by a shirt because the face is unsettling enough, thanks, alerts the robot when to turn and face a person in front of it, and its eye movements shift from direct eye contact to rapid eye movements known as saccades? Oh, no. It also moves slightly up and down to mimic breathing. And there's a video there, Gonz, and you really do have to see the video to see just how disturbing this is. And, I'll continue before I make some comments. The robot was developed by engineers at Disney Research Division, Walt Disney Imagineering, and robotics researchers from the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, and the California Institute of Technology. While most humanoid robots generally focus their eyes on a human face and stay there, that's not how people interact with each other, except on Zoom calls, maybe. The Disney research team explained in its paper, Realistic and Interactive Robot Gaze. Gaze has been shown to be a key social signal shaping perceptions of interaction partners. For example, people who make more eye contact with us are perceived to be similar to us, as well as more intelligent, conscientious, sincere, and trustworthy. Why do you think I unblinkingly have these giant eyeballs staring at you throughout the whole show? It's because I'm so intelligent and conscientious and sincere and trustworthy. Furthermore, gaze appears to also convey complex social and emotional states. Given the importance of gaze in social interactions, as well as its ability to communicate states and shape perceptions, it is apparent that gaze can function as a significant tool for an interactive robot character. Thus, the aim of this work is to develop a system to emulate human-like mutual gaze. It's not hard to imagine how Disney might use this technology, say for animatronic characters at its theme parks, or for robotic spiritual leaders in the new age robotic one world religion. You believe it or not, Gonz, I added that last part myself.
Really? I was like, wow, Verge getting truthful.
With that seamless. Anyways, the company's research division has been working on making more lifelike robots for some time. In 2018, it unveiled its Stickman robot that could do backflips in midair. Another star of the Flippy update segment, to approximate the height of a human stunt performer with arms raised over its head. They'll just need to add something that looks like skin over the eye-tracking robot's skull. Conquering the uncanny valley is one thing, but left as is, this robot would probably freak out Disneyland guests checking out the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. So this is a very interesting and very complex sort of development they've made here. As you can see in the video, when you're interacting with a regular human, eyeballs are kind of going all over the place. Even if you're seemingly looking at somebody in the eye, you're kind of switching from left eye to right eye. You're kind of looking back and forth. You might glance at their nose. You might move up. Like, your eyes are rarely like dead straight on looking at somebody else's eyes. And that's what always kind of made these robots really creepy, is because they thought they nailed it by making it so the robot looked into your eyes. But this one does a lot of the really interesting human movements. Like its eyes will dart around and kind of look at different parts of your face, and really, really realistic, really impressive, but incredibly creepy, especially with no skin on the face. Why didn't they put skin on the face? I don't know. But the gaze, the concept of the gaze, and they kind of alluded to it in the block quote from the paper Realistic and Interactive Robot Gaze. But the gaze is actually a very interesting philosophical term too. And so when I read this gaze thing, now I'm not going to get fully into it now because it goes very deep and gets kind of esoteric. But, there's an aspect of human behavior and human sort of selfhood or personhood that is determined by the gaze of others. And this is, of course, just in sort of different philosophical senses. This is not necessarily my personal beliefs, but going into the beliefs of those who would be in control of something like this. There's ideas that, without the gaze of another, the gaze of the other, that we would have a very hard time understanding who we are personally. And so, we base our own behavior and base our personality. It's all based off of the gaze of the other. What is how I act or how I think or what I say mean with another person around. Because without another person around, you really don't have a whole lot of things to base your own personhood off of. So anyways, to loop this back around, perfecting this sort of gaze from a robot is an interesting sort of leap into not just the interactions between robots and humans, but the perception of personhood, of being, not just the being or personhood of the robot, but now in the case where the robot can actually add to the personhood or the being or the development of our own idea of ourselves because of a robot being there. I'm not acting different or basing my identity or behavior, off of the of a Roomba being in the room. It's a robot and it's there, but I'm not necessarily acting differently or perceiving myself to not be alone. Well, when you perfect this human-like gaze from another, from an animatronic robot, suddenly you might find yourself in a place where even if you're alone in a room with a robot, you won't actually feel alone like you would, with a less sort of geared in robot like that, to put it in a weird way. Does that make sense to you? Am I communicating that okay?
You're tapping into the idea of the human shape and the human movement and the philosophical, like you mentioned, the personhood being developed or established via the shape of a human and its movements and stuff. And this is definitely narrowing the gap between how machines move and how we perceive ourselves and how we perceive others. But I thought there was an interesting, a couple things. One, when we're just talking about robot gaze, for people people mentioned it in the chat here, but there's a linguistic kind of neuro-linguistic programming there too. Totally. With the idea of, not gaze as a staring thing, but the GAYS gaze. I'm telling you that's part of the control here, because I think there's something there. And secondly, ever since in the last decade, people talked about body movement and how you can read people's, if they're telling the truth based on if they have eye contact or not.
Totally.
And I think with that knowledge out there, people have become way more creepy about holding eye contact. I don't know if you've noticed that, Basil, but
I
just in
totally
social interactions, people have just gotten way more like, I am going to stare at your eyes because I'm listening to you, and just way overdo the eye contact. So I think there's
just to add on that real quick, just something that really bugs me. You know, you and I, through our our research and trying to understand different brainwashing techniques and neuro-linguistic programming and stuff like that.
Right.
I've kind of started to notice that stuff happening a lot with people. Not recently, because I don't see a lot of human beings, but in recent times, once you're aware of these types of things, it really starts to bug you how much people are like using these techniques on you. Things like the gaze, unnatural. I mean, there's an aspect of eye contact that's natural and feels good, but then it gets real unnatural real quick. And things like mirroring, like vocal mirroring, where they'll like intentionally repeat the last 3 words of your sentence to like show you that they're listening. If somebody starts mirroring me, it just drives me bonkers, and I have to get out of there as soon as I can. So these robots, they're going to start getting at it. But it's all part of this, like, they're trying so hard to get past the uncanny valley. And to keep in mind, for those who are paying attention to this sort of thing, the uncanny valley is so for those who don't know, the uncanny valley is can easily be described as like the weirdness of like a humanoid robot, but you can tell it's not human, but it's really, really looks human, but is acting a little weird, and it makes you feel uncanny. And they purposefully create this uncanny valley because there's a lot of ethicists, robotic ethicists, saying that we need to really purposefully make sure people know it's a robot and not a human. But when Disney does something like this, it's like this intentional crossing of the uncanny valley to get to the other side, which is, in a sense, in sort of a long-term robotic ethicist sense, kind of diabolical. Like, you're not supposed to cross the uncanny valley. That's the whole point. Right.
Yeah, and it's if you want to look somebody up, Dr. William Hurlbut, Hurlbut. He's one of the ethicists who suggests that we don't create robots in the shape of humans. Like, he's one of the guys that are out there saying, don't do it because it's just not good for, theologically, but neurologically even. It's not good for people. No,
you'll start really messing with, it's not just nothing. I mean, you can really start messing not just with society, but with like individual mental health if you start crossing this divide too effectively. And then, of course, there's connections with this specifically with like the boyfriend girlfriend robots, the dolls and stuff like that, where
I'll pay attention to you real hard.
I'm gonna make this eye contact real weird.
All right, there you go. That's our Flippy update, a creepy one. I guess it's a little late for the creepy holiday there, the Halloween.
We just missed it.
I know, but it's okay. I did notice people mentioning the breaking story as we record this and broadcast live here. Vienna terrorist attack, at least 2 dead after shooting near synagogue in Australia. So we'll keep an eye on that as things unfold there. And I'm sure this week is a big week for some of these provocateurs of all types to push all sorts of narratives. But just keeping an eye on that and letting our audience know that we are noticing that is coming in.
Do you see it? It is coming across my feed here.
Yeah, big deal. So, all right, but we have to press on here and do our thing as well. So we got a whole bunch of updates here to get through.
We interrupt this broadcast to give you a brief update. By the end of this timely interruption, you will be thoroughly updated.
Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
Not to be outdone by this winky robot, Sophia the robot tweeted out that over the week we received many questions, so Asha and I posted this video to tell you a little bit about the new role of Sophia 2020, and how we are here to help. And
Sophia 2020, great.
Yeah, they're replicating
As
or
if
duplicating.
2020 couldn't get any worse.
Yeah, so here's a few seconds of Sophia and her new, clone buddy Asha.
Hey, I'm so excited to introduce my latest sister, Asha.
Oh, hey everybody. Nice to meet you.
There's Asha.
Asha is a great example of our latest robot development from Hanson Robotics, called Sophia 2020. She's designed to help with science and engineering research.
And help people in uses like healthcare.
All
Look
right,
at that
that's
eye
enough.
contact.
I was gonna say they could probably use some updates or upgrades on their eyeballs, but
I know. That's that uncanny valley that we love, folks.
yeah. And both of these robots, the one that you mentioned in your Flippy update and Sophia, they have that camera across their chest. You can see the little, all the sensoring and the cameras and stuff. I'm telling you, cameras part of the all-seeing eye.
Yeah, part of the
Technology there.
gaze.
Part of the case. Wow, you're so mean to the community.
Oh,
the
jeez.
letter community. But yeah, there you go. I mean, and the creepiest part about this little video is that in the background are like other heads of like previous versions, and then there's like a guy version of a Sophia-ish robot. So yeah, here they come. Here they come. Not to be outdone with your, creepy eyeball robot.
Yeah, see, there's extra skin hanging out there, Sophia.
I
They could have
know.
lent Disney some skin for that video.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, no.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. All right. And we also have a couple 33 updates here.
33 is the number of completion of the Great War.
There's a bunch of 33 updates coming in the email box, but I chose just a couple of them. This one is from Bitcoin.com. Dutch police seize $33 million in Bitcoin from couple accused of money laundering. So, I mean, that's pretty much the story. There's 2,532 Bitcoins. Accused of money laundering. Yeah.
$33 billion?
Million. I wrote billion in the document.
Oh,
I
okay.
meant million. Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, there you go. $33 million. And maybe, it's not the dollar amount is always fluctuating. I wonder if they're like, oh, it hit 33 million. Let's arrest them.
Report now.
Report now. Yeah. But that's about 2,532 Bitcoins.
It's a lot of Bitcoin.
That's a lot of Bitcoin. And, Bitcoin's going to the moon. Keeps going up. It's pumping right now. So keep an eye on that. The other 33 update we have here is from NBCnews.com. GDP rose at 33.1% annualized rate last quarter, but blowout figure is not what it seems.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow,
bad.
33.1. They almost got it.
I know,
Almost
so
got it
close.
right on the nose. So
Exactly
close.
33. Yeah. But so there you go. Just a couple numbers from the economy happen to land on the number 33. So keeping an eye on that. And then, last week, I guess before we had our little break, we made a little bet, Basil, between what the big announcement was going to be from NASA. Breakthrough announcement.
Yeah.
So what was that big announcement? This is pbs.org. 3 questions after the discovery of water molecules on the sunlit moon. I thought we already knew there was water on the moon.
I thought so too. I thought the poles were like covered in ice or something.
Yeah, why?
Or they had found ice on the poles.
Yeah, I mean, this one, it turned out to be even more mundane than my, they found some microbe or some kind of, virus,
Yeah.
not a virus,
And
but a little bacteria.
I thought it was playing it safe with my prediction that they are going to admit that the moon was hollow. I thought that was a boring and safe prediction. And no, you can never be outbored by NASA.
No.
They will outbore you.
Oh my gosh. And I did see somewhere, and I haven't been able to verify this, but the crater where they found this alleged water was the actual crater from Space Odyssey 2001, where they found the monolith in the movie.
Oh,
it's like the same crater. So I don't know if that means anything.
Wake up, sheeple.
Yeah. I don't know if that's signaling going on, but that was out there. Again, not verified, just something I saw on the internet, which means it's true, by the way. If you see it on the internet,
something I saw on the internet,
you know it's true. So yeah, wah. Too bad. Not very much of an exciting announcement from NASA.
I'm sure
we should have known.
Excited.
We should have known. And
we could. It's so funny that they get so excited about water on the moon. Again, Saul DePaul in the YouTube chat said twice a year they find water on the moon, which feels about right. It doesn't sound like new news to me, but they could just blast like a crystal geyser bottle up there, and boom, there's water on the moon. No big deal.
Yeah, maybe there's just like sweat beads that apparently was left behind from the astronauts, and they're like, hey.
That's not. Yeah, it could just be astronaut pee. Like it's just there. It doesn't go anywhere. There's no like atmosphere. It just hangs out.
Yeah, if the moon is even reachable, questionable.
Buzz Aldrin's little calling card he left.
Yeah. All right. Here is a Space Pope Reptilian update.
Space Pope Reptilian.
This is from I don't know how to pronounce this. Aleteia, Aleteia, Aleteia.org. Multi-faith complex to rise where Pope and Imam signed agreement. And this, I'm not going to read the story, but we've mentioned and reported on the document on human fraternity for world peace and living together that happened on February 4th, 2019. And it's a document where Pope Francis and Grand Imam of Al-Azhar Mohammed Ahmed El-Tayeb affirmed the relationship between authentic religious teachings and peace and called for greater cooperation among faiths. And the ground was broken this year on the Abrahamic Family House, a complex that includes a Christian church, a Muslim mosque, and a Jewish synagogue. And so, yeah, there's a video here showing sort of the outline of what they plan to do there. But, I think it's interesting that and we saw this with the CERN ceremony. I don't know if you remember that, the tunnel ceremony near CERN, where the three Abrahamic faiths got together and they had a little, ceremony there, and they're like, hey, we're coming together, blah, blah, blah. And it really does set up for a type of Antichrist figure, and that sort of brings the religions together, so to speak, that galvanizes the world as one, all the religions as one, that kind of thing. If the three monotheistic faiths can come together and be led by one single entity, individual, then the world can follow suit. And, if you can weave in an alien narrative in there or whatever it may be, people can really just jump on board. So it's something to keep an eye on, but I found it interesting that, the grounds have been broken. They're going to put up this three system or three religious...
Three in one religious building.
Yeah, and of course, when you think about the beasts in Revelation, there's different theories about what they are, but just something to keep an eye on, that, there's the three individual beasts, and then they come together to form the fourth beast. So just something to keep in mind there from Revelation 13 of what we might be looking at here. So there you go. Space Pope Reptilian. Bringing the world together, Basil.
It's a good one.
It is a big one and a good one. And one more here. This one is a little bit more of a happy moment, I guess you can say. I just found it very interesting, and so I included it in here.
Hallelujah.
What a fluke. This is APnews.com. Dutch whale tail sculpture catches metro train. Did you see this, Basil?
No.
This is
I'm
insanity.
just seeing it now.
Oh, it's crazy. Basically, a metro train escaped injury when the front carriage rammed through the end of an elevated section of rails and was caught by a sculpture of a whale's tail near the Dutch port city of Rotterdam. So those of you watching on the screen, you can see the train landing on the tail.
Train, busted out off the tracks of an elevated train track and was caught by a statue, of a whale tail. Wow. Well, somebody said their prayers that day.
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, it's this is like the most unusual story. I mean, I don't know. It's a hallelujah story. I don't think anybody got hurt. So
Yeah, that's
there you
great.
go. Yeah. So
Thanks, whale.
Yeah. Thanks, inanimate object whale in the shape of a whale.
I wonder if whoever designed it, if they're alive, maybe they'll get an award.
Yeah.
It's a safety feature, not just an art installation.
But also, what is that train doing going over the ledge there?
It's the Dutch, man.
What is that supposed to mean?
I don't know what that means, but
oh, there goes our Dutch listeners. They're all going to be upset.
Oh, I don't know. I actually am not sure if we've ever had any Dutch listeners.
I'm sure we
if you're
have.
Dutch in the chat, identify yourself. Okay.
So there
All
you
right,
go.
well,
Those are the
speaking
updates.
of the Dutch, I have a fun little update for you.
Speaking of the Dutch, really?
Speaking of international listeners, let me see if anybody in chat. Nope. Okay. No, if you're not Dutch, you don't have to say you're not Dutch. Just if you are Dutch, say you are Dutch. Okay. So while you were gone last week, I spent some time and, we don't really pay attention to a lot of the traditional metrics that a lot of podcasters like to pay attention to. Not because we're, more righteous in any way. By not doing that, it just hasn't really served us in the past. And you can really get distracted, if you start paying attention too much to download numbers and your iTunes charts and things like that. But I had a little bit of time and I checked out our charts. Now, this is from last week. Because of Baby Week and my failure to do something on Friday, we have since fallen. But last week, one fun, notable chart placement we had was we were number 59 in the news category in Australia.
Ooh,
which is pretty impressive.
Very cool.
I mean, I was pretty impressed. We're just some little guys. We're not supported now, especially considering every news channel, every mainstream established news company has podcasts now. But yeah, we're number 59 on the charts in Australia, which I thought was impressive. Our Australia listeners really paying attention to us over there, getting our numbers up. Thank you very much, Australian listeners. But then I saw this little update come across from Australia, and I didn't mean to make this a whole story, but it is pretty interesting. This is from news.com.au, and it's titled DFAT Updates Do Not Travel Warning for USA. And if you're wondering what DFAT is, it'll explain here in a second. With only a couple days before Americans head to the polls, Australians are being warned to steer clear of the USA. The Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade updated its advice, saying there was a potential for violence in the upcoming days and weeks. Foreign Minister Maurice Payne's office said the warning against travel was already in place because of COVID-19, with similar warnings in place for all nations, and the only change is a mention of the U.S. election this week. So, booyah, sorry, Australians. They don't, Australia's already been having some of the worst COVID-19 crackdowns and government control experiments and things like that. I really don't, I'm praying for you, Australians. Hold tight over there. We had the videos of people's houses getting busted in and people getting arrested for making Facebook posts, all sorts of stuff like that. And this article goes through and basically just talks about the election and how there's a big risk for violence. But then at the end, it kind of gets into this section here. The fear of significant unrest and widespread violence in the U.S. is increasing by the day, with Walmart announcing it was removing all guns and ammunitions from its sales floors in a bid to stop looters ahead of Election Day. Now, keep in mind, Australia was one of these countries that has very strong gun control laws. Yeah. And in fact, they had a very widespread and effective gun buyback program a while back. So Australians, correct me if I'm wrong, but just from the perspective of the U.S., Australia really is the example of what many Americans are afraid of happening here in the U.S. So I thought it was interesting how they, at the very end of this, threat of violence, don't go to the U.S., they have this big, long section on gun violence. Let me just read a couple of these. Quote, "We have seen some isolated civil unrest, and as we have done on several occasions over the past few years," this is Walmart talking, "we have moved our firearms and ammunition off the sales floor as a precaution for the safety of our associates and customers," a Walmart spokesman said. "Retailers have been on edge after people earlier this year smashed windows, stole merchandise, and at times set stores ablaze in Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, Portland, and other U.S. cities. And in another trend that has fed concern, gun sales in the United States this year have reached record highs, and more first-time buyers have purchased firearms in recent months." Now, keep in mind, the looters and the rioters allegedly are the left, who are in favor of very restrictive gun control. And so why would they be worried about the left breaking in and looting and stealing the guns? Don't the left want if the left came in and stole the guns, they would be responsible and would destroy them and throw them in the river. This. They probably wouldn't even touch the guns. They can't stand them. The article continues, "The nation's economy has tanked due to the pandemic." No, it's due to the
lockdown.
Due to the lockdowns, the government-enforced lockdowns tanked the economy, not the pandemic. "Unemployment has spiked. Social media is awash with hate and conspiracy theories, creating a volatile rift that stretches through all sectors of U.S. society."
Oh my gosh!
This is in the travel warning.
Yeah.
In the travel warning, they're warning about social media. Don't even traffic in American social media. It's wild. A poll released by Suffolk University and USA Today found 3/4 of respondents were worried about the possibility of violence on Election Day. In 2016, only 50% of voters were concerned about violence. Those are both extremely high numbers. Americans have been stocking up on weapons. Oh, I love this part. This is a real America part of the thing. "Americans have been stocking up on weapons and military-style tactical gear as fearful Americans prepare to hunker down. Many gun shops have sold out of ammunition, and firearm stocks are running low. Donald Trump would be due to vacate the office by January if he loses, but he appears to be already contesting the vote by saying the election is rigged and suggesting mail-in ballots are fake, et cetera, et cetera." So they got to get a little bit of Orange Man bad in there at the end. But I just thought this is very entertaining. Don't go to America. They all got too much guns and tactical gear.
Well, also, as sort of a side thing, they should have put the travel warning to Austria, because that's where the first spark of violence has occurred this week.
That's the Vienna terrorist.
The Vienna terrorist attack. Austrian chancellor says shooting was a terrorist attack. So now you know that there's propaganda behind it there.
Yes.
Some attackers still mobile, says Interior Minister. Police hunt for attackers not limited to Vienna. So now everybody gets scared because they're still at large, apparently. But and this story, this kind of thing, I don't know.
What does that have to? I'm just curious. I mean, It's an awful thing. I don't want terrorist attacks happening anywhere. But do we know the nature of any of it? I mean, I saw a video that had some gunshots.
Yeah.
But, here in America, I'm used to the gunshots.
Right.
So that didn't exactly read as terrorist attack immediately.
Well, the chancellor saying it's a terrorist attack suggests there's some kind of political situation going on there with propaganda, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just more of like scary stuff happening now this week, and I mean, shootings, unfortunately, a lot of shootings do happen around the world, but not all of them get picked up. And I guess not all of them have this kind of impact. Yeah. So I don't know yet. Well, we don't know because it's still a story that's unfolding, but it's just one of those things where
Well, and especially with the European Union and their not the Eurozone, and they're doing some extreme lockdowns. So of course, this will be used as a stay in your house, don't come out citizen.
Yeah, definitely be scared, and which, by the way, kind of along these lines here with Scary USA. I don't know if you mentioned it on the live stream. I think you did on one of them, but my parents' house had to evacuate during the fires last week in Orange County, and so the joke was that Gavin Newsom is telling everybody to stay home because of the virus, but also evacuate because of the fire.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, but anyway, in
Gavin.
terms of the gun stuff here, I thought there was an update that said that Walmart decided to put the guns back on the rack in the stores.
I don't know.
So I don't know. Maybe that was something else, but
maybe they did. Maybe they realized that yes, of course, good lefties would never steal the guns. But there you go. That's the news from Australia.
Yeah.
Now, this leads in to the first kind of collection of stuff I want to talk about here.
Right.
Are you good to keep going?
Yeah, let me set it up in the context of the name or the title of this episode, which is Natural Election.
Yes.
And it's sort of a play on words with natural selection. Obviously, you know about natural selection, the process whereby organisms
precursor of evolution.
Yeah,
yes.
The precursor of evolution, the process whereby organisms better adapted to their environment tend to survive and produce more offspring. The theory of its action was first fully expounded by Charles Darwin and is now believed to be the main process that brings about evolution. Of course,
Charles Darwin, the
child of an occultist.
The man who had, child of a cultist, and the man who had 10 children with his cousin.
Yeah, good job. So it was a play on that idea of natural selection and this, the survival of the fittest. And the quote here that is pretty famous, Franklin D. Roosevelt, presidents are selected, not elected. And so,
yes.
Take it as you will, but I just thought it was a good play on words to show that there is a kind of a survival of the fittest mentality in this country right now, in America anyway.
Totally.
And these elections, which a lot of people believe is just more of a selection campaign, plays into that, plays into the fear of the people and how they respond to the great Hegelian dialectic of problem, reaction, solution there. So,
Quick update from Captain Frost in the YouTube chat. Walmart, put guns back shelf, confirmed.
Oh, okay.
So,
there you go.
There we go. We know. So there you go, lefties. Don't touch the guns.
Those, it's only for saving for Antifa. Let the Antifa in. Let them have the guns.
Let them.
We need them to fight the white supremacists.
Fill out a background check and just do it legally.
Yeah.
Next, that's going to be a gun control talking point. There's the gun show loophole, which doesn't exist. It was a made up thing. You can't buy a gun at a gun show without a background check.
Right.
They talk about the gun show loophole or the private sale loophole. Well, now it's the robbing Walmart loophole.
It's gonna be the company Clear. They're gonna step up and be like, hey, you want a gun? Biometrics. Give us all your biometrics. And here it is.
And there's some, anyways, we're getting way off track here, but there's some companies working on building in biometrics into firearms now. Right.
I think we reported on that months ago, but
months. Okay, let's get into this.
NSA style hybrid war psyops.
Okay, so now for some election stuff. It's election time. Let's talk about some election stuff. This was floating around, but it's taking many forms depending on the outlet and who's talking about it. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to read you a little bit of stuff here, and then I'm going to kind of give you my rundown. This is regarding what seems to be a 20-year strategy for the Republicans that is coming to a head this election. But some of you may have heard some of these rumblings. I'm going to start with this sort of shorter article. Well, it's kind of not short. I don't know. I'm going to jump around because we're a little limited on time. But here we go. I'm going to start at ProPublica.org just to give a little bit of background. And the article is titled, Why Bush v. Gore Still Matters in 2020. 20 years after the Supreme Court decision known as Bush v. Gore effectively decided a presidential election, it's back on the country's mind. President Donald Trump, who is lagging in the polls amid a surge in COVID-19 cases and refuses to commit to leaving office quietly. Oh, jeez.
ProPublica.
I know. This is already just so many little fact checks you could do on here, but okay. He refuses to commit, leaving office quietly should his bid for election fail. He has said he believes the Supreme Court will intervene in the upcoming election to hand him a second term. He cited that role to justify rushing the confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett, who is sworn in as a justice on Monday and could potentially break a 4-4 tie. Lawyers representing the president's campaign and the Republican Party have taken to citing Bush v. Gore frequently in pre-election court filings. It's happened like twice, so okay. And the case's echoes are only underscored by the presence of 3 justices, Chief Justice John Roberts, Barrett, and Brett Kavanaugh, each of whom worked for the Republicans in the 2000 ballot recount battles in Florida that culminated in the historic Supreme Court decision. Democrats got agitated this week when Kavanaugh, appointed by Trump in 2018, included a nearly page long.
Oh,
it was
no.
almost a page long disquisition.
My gosh. Who has time? Who has
Can
time
you
to read it?
believe that this one of the highest Justice Department seats in the country wrote almost a page on Bush v. Gore in an opinion explaining his vote not to reinstate a 6-day buffer after the election day for mail-in ballots, which are expected to lean heavily Democratic to arrive at election offices in Wisconsin. So this was regarding they are trying to extend election day to election week. And he came in and said, I don't think that's a very good idea. However, opinions by Justices Samuel Alito and Neil Gorsuch appended to Wednesday's decision when, this is not what I want to talk about. Hold on. Let me go. Okay, here we go. This will be a little bit of background for those who might need a refresher. What was Bush v. Gore? By the early morning hours of Election Day 2000, it was clear that the election contest between the Republican candidate George W. Bush and the Democrat Al Gore would come down to Florida's 25 electoral votes. With Bush up in the state by a very thin margin, Gore moved to have machine-tabulated ballots manually recounted. Weeks of legal wrangling ensued, with litigation ping-ponging around various Florida state courts, twice reaching the U.S. Supreme Court. Eventually, the Florida Supreme Court ordered a statewide manual recount, but offered little guidance to ballot counters other than that they had to discern the clear intent of the voter. Many Florida counties used punch card ballots at the time, and some Floridians failed to fully punch out the paper tab called the CHAD, leaving their votes unclear. New phrases entered the American lexicon. Hanging chads was a big one, dimpled chads, and they don't mention pregnant chads. I was about 12 years old when this was happening, and I remember vividly this whole mix-up. Were you paying attention? You must have been in high school at this point. I was
a junior in high school, and I remember thinking, this is before knowing anything. I remember thinking, it's all a scam. That was my take at 17. This whole thing everything's a scam. Government scam.
Yeah.
So I was super woke even back then.
With an important mid-December deadline approaching, Bush's lawyers asked the Supreme Court to intervene. Late on Tuesday, just hours ahead of the deadline, the court, by a 5-4 vote, put a stop to the Florida recount, all but declaring Bush the next president. In an unsigned opinion, 5 of the court's more conservative justices found that Florida Supreme Court's recount rules were vague and inconsistent, resulting in an arbitrary and disparate treatment of ballots. So, for example, counters in Miami, Miami-Dade County might deem a particular hanging Chad a vote for the president, while counters in Palm Beach County might not. The Constitution gives broad discretion to state legislatures to decide how to appoint the electors it sends to the Electoral College. The Bush v. Gore majority held that Florida recount procedures violated the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which requires that the states not, quote, value one person's vote over that of another. On this point, there was broad agreement. Two justices from the court's liberal wing, Stephen Breyer and David Souter, largely agreed with the 5 conservatives. The question remained what to do about it. Souter and Breyer thought the U.S. Supreme Court should do what it would usually do and send the case back to the Florida Supreme Court with instructions for how to cure the problem. The 5 conservatives, however, decided that there wasn't enough time left to fix the recount process and complete it. 2 decades later, their reasoning remains the subject of widespread criticism. The late Justice Antonin Scalia joined the majority opinion, but privately called the equal protection rationale privately called the equal protection rationale, quote, as we say in Brooklyn, a piece of shit. Dog duty. According to First, a well-regarded 2019 biography of retired Justice Sandra Day O'Connor, in essence, the majority read into an earlier Florida Supreme Court ruling the suggestion that the Florida legislature wanted the vote to count finalized before the mid-December deadline. Okay, so basically, they were recounting, and nobody knew how to do it, so they sent it to the Supreme Court. And finally, the Supreme Court said, nah, okay, you're just done. You just whatever numbers you have, that's what it is. And that's how Bush won the election. Now, there's some very interesting characters who participated in that whole process. Of course, both Bush and Gore had lots of legal people, lawyers and law firms and people involved in sort of navigating this whole thing with the courts. And I'm going to jump over to an article from CNN. And yes, I know it's CNN. We're just taking it. This is all over the place. But it's interesting to see how it's framed from different perspectives here. So they give a little background on the Florida thing that I just gave you the background. And then they go into this. They start talking about the 3 who assisted Bush. Number 1 is Chief Justice John Roberts. He is a current Supreme Court judge. Roberts flew to Florida in November 2000 to assist Bush's legal team. This was before he was on the Supreme Court. He helped prepare the lawyer who presented Bush's case to the Florida State Supreme Court and offered advice throughout. Roberts also faced a singular personal challenge. He had a baby at the time. After Bush became president, he nominated Roberts to the Supreme Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit, et cetera, eventually landing in a Supreme Court position. So you have Chief Justice Roberts, who helped Bush win the election. He was basically, I'm going to be describing some henchmen, some boots on the ground help that won Bush the election and who then became Supreme Court justices. That's Justice John Roberts was the first one. The second one was Justice Brett Kavanaugh. He was also in private practice in 2000 and helped the Bush legal team. He wrote on a 2018 Senate questionnaire that his work related to recounts in Volusia County, Florida. In an interview with CNN in Washington after the justices had heard oral arguments but before they ruled, Kavanaugh said the justices were concerned about the arbitrary, standardless nature of the recount process in Florida. He dismissed a question about political differences, saying, "I don't think the justices care if it's Bush v. Gore or if it were Gore v. Bush," which I don't know what that means. But okay. What they care about is how to interpret the Constitution, et cetera, et cetera. So Brett Kavanaugh, back in 2000, played a big role in getting Bush elected through this recount problem. And of course, the last one, our new Supreme Court judge, Amy Coney Barrett. Barrett wrote on a questionnaire she submitted to the Senate for her Supreme Court confirmation review, "One significant case on which I provided research and briefing assistance was Bush v. Gore." She said the law firm where she was working at the time represented Bush, and that she had gone down to Florida for about a week at the outset of the litigation. When the dispute was in the Florida courts, she said she had not continued on the case after she returned to Washington. During her hearings this week, she told senators she could not recall specifics of her involvement. And then they have a couple quotes there. So basically, sitting on the Supreme Court right now, you have three of the foot soldiers who helped get Bush elected through the Florida lawsuits. And this, obviously, Judge Roberts was rewarded for his work by Bush, who made him a Supreme Court judge. Yeah. And then it seems as though when you consider that, the very next Republican president, Trump, puts both Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett. Now, here's the thing. I'm stoked about, well, I'm indifferent mainly, but, I will say, actually, I'm stoked that, Trump could put a woman on the court. I'm pretty indifferent for a lot of reasons about Amy Coney Barrett, but you got to admit, she's only been a judge since 2017. So if you were looking at a resume, you would probably have a couple people before her, but she made it in. That's a big win for conservatives in this country. But what you have is now a conservative majority in the Supreme Court, and three of them seem to have been specifically rewarded for getting Bush through in the Florida recounts in 2000 by being put on the Supreme Court. And I think this is a 20-year strategy for Republicans coming to a head where now, we've all known for at least a year or more that this election was going to end up going to the courts. We're all expecting it to go to the courts this time. Admittedly, Trump has flat out said he's going to take it to the courts if he doesn't win, and his reasoning makes sense. But he obviously is not afraid of bringing it to the courts because they'll push it all the way up to the Supreme Court with a conservative majority, two of which were put in specifically by Trump with their activity on the Bush Gore Florida recount being cited, and Chief Justice Roberts, who was immediately rewarded by being put on the Supreme Court as a reward for working on the Florida recounts. Yeah. So I gotta say, this seems like a genius 20-year plan coming to a head that is going to pay off for the Republicans.
Well, if Trump is the genius that some people claim him to be, or his team, it would make sense to look at the last time there was any kind of controversy in an election and get the people on his side. And he did a good job of setting that up.
And I will say, admittedly, I want to let you continue, but admittedly, I see some people talking about it in the chat. Roberts has been what is referred to as a rhino, which is a left-leaning Republican. Yeah. But he's not going to betray the party in a case like this. He does sort of flip-flop occasionally on what are considered, partisan divides. But if it comes down to betraying his party or, whatever, when it comes to a presidential confirmation, I mean, I don't think him being a rhino is going to make any difference.
Yeah, and you got to remember Trump was a Democrat for most of his career
he was
too.
So it's registered Democrat up until like a couple of years before he ran.
Yeah, it was a PR move to go Republican for sure, to ride that train of really disgruntled Americans in the working class and all that. But Yeah, I think this is, of course, a smart move. And knowing that this election was going to be crazy shaky anyway, most people, we all saw it. We all knew it was going to be chaotic. It's probably going to be. I'm, really, there's a lot of people fearful right now, but I'm more like, let's just watch for the amount of disinformation and just the contradictory reporting that's going to come out. There was somebody saying that Trump's going to declare victory early or something, and I don't know if he denied it. That
a lot.
Yeah, you're hearing it a lot, and I'm sure outlets like CNN and MSNBC, whatever, these like mainstream lefty outlets are just not gonna let it go until he's re-inaugurated in January or whatever. The 80 days between election and that date or whatever it is. I can't remember the exact number. 79 days.
79 days. Yeah.
It's going to be madness. I mean, it was madness last time with the Russia gate and all that stuff. It's going to be even more, I think, crazy. And this is where it's not so much the chaos on the streets, the Asian provocateurs this week, but these next 3 months or 2 months, 2.5 months, whatever it is. And that's really more of the fear here. But in the case of, and that's the thing. And the reason why we say it's all, the perspective of presidents being elected, not selected. Yes, votes kind of count in a way, but also you're very limited on who you can vote for. So you're voting in a box. You're not really voting it's not a true, free, open voting system. And there's a system built there as a constitutional republic. And I know No Agenda's pointed it out, but I think it's worth mentioning that we do live in a constitutional republic. And when people say we live in a democracy, well, democracy is a philosophical ideology. It's not a form of governance.
And anybody who knows what they're talking about knows that a true democracy, a majority democracy, is actually the worst.
Oh, it's horrible.
The worst way to govern. And I forget who said this. I think I heard it on No Agenda, but I forget who mentioned it. But if you want an example of a majority democracy, that's a lynch mob. That's why we're not a majority democracy. What's a lynch mob? You got one guy, you got a crowd of people who want to lynch one guy. That's majority rule. And it doesn't matter if the guy is innocent or not. If majority rules, the lynch mob is going to lynch him.
Right.
And that's majority rule. And that's why we don't have majority rule. Now, don't get me started on the Electoral College. I've really switched on that.
It's not the best system for sure.
Well,
and
I actually kind of switched on it.
You did? You think it's a good system?
I'm actually kind of pumped on the Electoral College now. I've really flip-flopped on that over the 4 years.
Yeah.
But there's one more thing I want to say, and we do have to move on to the next story. But I do want to mention there was a point brought up to me recently that I just wanted to share because it really kind of changed my perspective on the past 4 years, and it's changed my perspective on what we're looking at, whatever happens in the election. Mm-hmm. And that is, over the past 4 years, the media versus Trump. Mm-hmm. It's been they're at each other's throats. It's the biggest,
it's the story
is the biggest thing, just media versus the presidency, media versus the government. And it's really frustrating to everybody, and it gets wild and it gets ridiculous and, just everything, the media versus the president.
Right.
But looking forward, and I consider the possibility of Biden winning, where suddenly it goes media versus the government to media and the government agreeing and loving each other too much. And the beautiful golden opportunity that we've had, as frustrating and as maddening as it can be over the past 4 years, with the government and the media at each other's throats, and admittedly exaggerating, lying, both of them about each other.
Yeah.
But what's more terrifying than a media and a government at each other's throats it's a media and a government who love each other.
Right.
I mean, that's tyranny. Can you imagine if both the government and the media just love each other so much and they start agreeing on everything, and suddenly, our news feeds are filled with just how great the government is no matter what they do. Right now is kind of how it should be in a way, in that, I don't want my media and my government to agree. That's where you get tyranny. That's where you get Soviet Russia. That's where you get, state-controlled everything, and there's no escape from it.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. If Biden wins and suddenly the media and the government are in league with each other and actually start cooperating, none of us have any chance.
Yeah.
I will take the press in a death match with the government 100% every time given the choice.
Yeah, and somebody mentioned it in the chat, the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act, which legalized propaganda in the United States. And the point that has to be made there is, if Trump really, truly cared about, ending the fake news or whatever, he would have, he would have turned that around and made propaganda, at least like overt propaganda, illegal in this country again, or at least foreign propaganda illegal in this country. But he didn't. So I think he's using it to his advantage for his, his campaigning. But also, you got to keep in mind, you bring up a good point, because, right now we're all in the moment. Tomorrow's the election. What's going to happen? Chaos on the streets, the dark winter, all that kind of stuff. But you look down, 4 years is not that long. As I get older too, I'm like realizing how fast 4 years goes by. And 4 years from now, it's unlikely that a Republican is going to take the presidency. It's more likely that a Democrat will, just because of the way they swing the pendulum back and forth. And, they might find, we'll see. I don't know how it's going to happen, because Democrats have become,
the thing is the hard thing.
Yeah. The Democratic Party have gotten so, socialist, left, whatever, that it might turn. Who knows? Maybe a third party can. We don't know. But if we're seeing historical trends, then it will go in that direction where a Democrat gets in, a liberal, a leftist, whatever, and you have 8 years of Trump and restoring America, and in one fell swoop, some guy's going to come in and boom, we have everything back to where it was, or even worse, probably. And then you have that love affair between the media and government that you so
Well, that's what Obama was. I mean, the Obama era was Obama could do no wrong. The media loves Obama.
Yeah.
And yeah, at the time, people who bought into it were like, oh my gosh, he's the perfect president. We're so happy.
Yeah.
And it's only after he gets out that you realize, oh my gosh, he was the one who started putting kids in cages. He was bombing weddings. You know, he was drone happy. He was doing all this horrible stuff that I will say I am happy to report a lot of my millennial peers, even those who are diehard Democrats, are, you know, they'll even talk to me. They're like, oh, wow, we used to have our Obama portrait up in our house and we had to take it down. We just learned about all of it. We can't stand it. Yeah, they had an Obama portrait.
Who are your friends, man? You need to.
I have peers, man. I'm a millennial. I got millennial Democrat peers.
I will say that's, it's a good point you bring up, because I've seen a lot of waking up in the last 4 years, or even more than maybe last 10 years, where a lot of people that were like towing the line of the Republican Party, and they're all about, Bush. They're all about anything Republican, conservative. Even they have kind of shaken out of like, oh, hey, maybe there's a lot of corruption here. But see, the problem is, and I've noticed this a lot with like more of your normie folk, that they just go the other direction. They're like, oh, now the Republicans are evil, we must vote Democrat. And it's like, no, that's really missing the point too. So maybe in the next 4 years, we have a deeper awakening where we can, the Libertarian Party can rise in America or something. I don't know. Something where Basil will get stoked and he's, Mad Maxing it all the way to the pole.
Yeah, we'll go back. We'll devolve into post-apocalyptic micro communities, and I can become a warlord.
Yeah.
I mentioned that, right? I was talking to my LibJoe guy, and he, my buddy. For those who need a refresher, I have a very good. Oh, I won't say very good. We've been friends for a long time. We've known each other since middle school. He has since gone off to be a very liberal journalist and kind of high level. I mean, I don't think he's like in the level of the elite level, but he's made a good career for himself.
Has he been to Bohemian Grove? That's the question. If he's been to Bohemian Grove, he's compromised.
Not at that level. He's too young. You got to be a certain age to make it into the real elite club. But if he keeps doing his job, he might make it there. But we were just talking, and he's one of these folks who's kind of waking up. He's like, yeah, I hate the Democrat Party, but I have to vote against Trump. He's one of these guys who's waking up but has to vote against Trump.
Right.
And I told him, like, I just want it all to turn into post-apocalyptic. I want to be a warlord, man. I just need to fulfill my destiny and like rule the wasteland. And he's like, us Democrats have a name for people like you. You're an accelerationist. And I guess it's the whole thing. You're an accelerationist because you just want society to collapse and you can become a warlord in the desert.
They have a label for everything, don't they?
I know. I was like, wow, that's a great warlord name. Basil the Accelerationist.
Join the Accelerationist Party. Let's tear this thing down. Let it burn.
And I see a couple people saying I need new friends, and you know what? I'm going to push back against that. It's good. So. I'm happy to be in a place where I can have long-term friends and we can disagree about everything, but we don't have to hate each other about it. That's the whole point here, people.
That's the whole point of life.
Diametrically opposed ideas about what should be happening, and the media wants us to not be friends and to hate each other, but we can still be friends and disagree with each other. I recommend giving it a try sometime, folks.
WWJD, folks.
Folks, we gotta stop saying folks. That's a Democrat word.
Oh, is it? Oh, sorry. Okay. You people, WWJD. All right.
You people.
You people. People asking Jo Jorgensen, who is she? She's the libertarian candidate for this election.
I retweeted a tweet of hers recently, and I liked it a lot.
Yeah,
she was
pro
I actually
Bitcoin.
Don't know much. I have not paid much attention to her at all, just because how could you?
Yeah, how could you?
When you're just inundated with Biden versus Trump. But she was talking about how she gets asked who the worst president is or has been, and she says it's not Obama, it's not Trump, it's Woodrow Wilson, and goes into the fact that it was Woodrow Wilson that established the 16th Amendment, which was federal income tax and the Federal Reserve Act.
See,
and it was Woodrow Wilson that just did all this horrible stuff.
I know,
and which. It is an interesting detail for me because I was on a mountain climbing trip one time, and we just randomly climbed this little mountain. It was in between big mountains. We were doing Mount Gannett in, I think, Wyoming, and there's a little peak near there called Mount Woodrow Wilson, and we climbed Mount Woodrow Wilson. So it's a very small mountain. That's just a fun little detail.
It was a hill, more of a hill than a mountain.
It was a hill. Yeah.
We got to get moving here, but a good conversation overall. I think people are learning, but also having, insight into how we think about these issues. And it's not so one-sided. I know it's so easy to just jump on a bandwagon. And I will say I was somewhat glad to see a lot of American flags in my neighborhood. I saw one Trump flag, but a lot of American flags on people's porches. And it's interesting how in the time we live in now in Orange County, where I'm at, an American flag means you're Republican.
I know. Isn't that wild?
It's just a wild time to live in.
It is wild.
But, they all want it. They want the new age.
We will launch a new age.
And this story here, I think, goes into the topic that we touch on, this thread that we've been looking at with technology and how it affects elections. there hasn't been too many conversations about that. It's all about, lots of legislations about, different topics that are here and now. But we're watchmen. We're kind of looking over the hill of what's coming up. And there hadn't been too many people talking about it. But this one article actually did touch on some of it. So I wanted to share it with you. This is from Forbes.com.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.
And this is titled 2020 is America's High-Tech Election. And it says here, everyone has been calling this presidential... I lost my spot here. Hold on, let me zoom out. Everyone has been calling this presidential election historic. But it may be historic for another reason that the pundits and the media are missing. In 2020, we have reached a tipping point in determining how and where America will face the challenge of winning the high-tech frontier and building its leadership in the technologies that will shape the 21st century. Whoever leads the next administration will be duty-bound to make sure these advanced technologies work to America's favor and serve our national interest as well as the interests of our allies. Interesting way of putting it there, Forbes. In the end, what's at stake is ensuring that the technologies that power our world and that will shape future worlds serve the cause of freedom and not tyranny. Above all, that means making sure the U.S. and its allies, and not China, win that big or high-tech war for the future. At the basic level, that means making sure the industry that produces the microchips that power every digital device in our country, i.e. the American semiconductor industry, has the support it needs to regain and maintain its lead in chip manufacturing and innovation, not China. Semiconductor chips are a strategic asset which America needs to protect and reshore in order to protect our digital future. The other crucial power source for winning is artificial intelligence, AI. As we've noted in previous columns, for China, AI has become a tool for social control and political oppression. For America and the West, AI and machine learning need to be tools for empowering freedom and innovation, from virtual reality devices to driverless cars, but also tools for protecting our national security assets and serving our defense needs by making systems smarter, faster, cheaper, and more efficient. The key to AI is data. The more, the better. Who has access to that data and what they do with it is one of the most important emerging issues on the high-tech frontier. The TikTok case proves how critical it is to prevent China's communist rulers from gaining access to our data. Restricting the export of data to unsecure platforms and untrusted end users will be an important ingredient in shaping our national digital policy. The biggest impact data will have as a strategic commodity. What? Am I reading that weird? The biggest impact data will have as a strategic commodity will be through 5G wireless technology. The winner of this year's election will need to keep rolling back China's bid for global 5G domination through its tech stalking horse, Huawei. We also need to offer allies and others a robust and resilient 5G alternative, particularly one that will serve the broadest user base at the lowest possible cost. The real hinge of 21st century technology, however, will be quantum. Future quantum computers will be powerful tools for good, including quickly finding cures for diseases and understanding our universe. But they can also be tools for breaking down the encryption systems that secure our banks, financial markets, and the energy grid. Allowing China to take the lead in quantum technology will put us and our allies in serious danger. We will probably have no more than 1 or 2 years to start making our digital networks, including 5G, resilient to quantum intrusion.
Quantum intrusion.
I know. The next administration must act forcefully to prevent a quantum winter.
Wait, read that again.
The next administration must act forcefully to prevent a quantum winter in our near future. I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. It's not a dark winter. Don't be so
forceful, next administration.
It's not a dark winter. It's a quantum winter.
Quantum winter. Wow. That would have really been a shoo-in for a show title.
I know it would have been, but here we are. Finally, this election may decide the fate of big tech itself. The question is whether Amazon, Google, Facebook, and Twitter command a market power that's been earned and serves liberty and the public interest, or whether they form a de facto monopoly, they already have, that imposes its own values, they already do, and suppresses alternative visions, which they already do. Recently, there's been a big loss in public confidence in the integrity of big tech, especially for Twitter, which has been branded as the chief offender. Really? They're the chief offender? I don't know. All these companies are at a crossroads in public perception. The next administration, whether Republican or Democrat, will be proposing policies they won't like to fix a problem they too long dismissed or ignored. At the same time, these companies will be indispensable to winning the high-tech war with China. Navigating between these two policy goals, reigning in big tech's power while also recruiting their skills and resources, will be one of the supreme challenges for strategists and lawmakers after this election. The Trump administration had made great strides on winning the high-tech frontier. Its series of AI summits, its 2018 National Strategic Overview of Quantum Information Science, and the National Quantum Initiative, its pushback on Huawei, which we've chronicled here, have been crucial in leading the way. Americans must make sure the occupants of the Oval Office next January continues that effort, including boosting our Made in USA semiconductor industrial network. The pundits keep telling us how much November 3rd matters for America's future. They are right in even more ways than they realize. So there you go. Arthur Herman, the man who probably listens to the show and decided to pen something for Forbes. Which
Quantum
sadly,
Winter sounds like a new 007 film.
Yeah. Which, rest in peace, Sean Connery, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's 90.
Yeah.
He lived a full life.
He's an old man.
Yeah, he's an old man. But there you go. I mean, I think he's right on a lot of fronts, although he's super like anti-China, which is interesting. I think it almost sounds like he's a Trump supporter without saying it, you know?
Right.
But that these are the issues of concern that we just don't hear about in politics, which if we have any kind of true open conversation about the future of where we are going, then these are the issues, 5G, quantum, all the high tech stuff, AI, it's already affecting us.
It's so interesting too, how they're either ignored by the mainstream or, you'll get some sort of, pro technocrat coming on talking about how they're going to save us.
Yeah, exactly. And because they're already using it. The article talked about the big tech companies, but they're already using a lot of the technology to have a biased psychological manipulation approach to society.
Yeah.
So why would they want policy to restrict that or to at least keep it in check? And we just don't right now. And so that's why we have all these problems.
Yeah, well, and they made the point there, about the big tech just sort of running rampant right now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some very soft gloved attempts right now to try to keep them in check, but really not working very well.
No. Yeah. And some of our colleagues put together a lawsuit against Google and YouTube for taking down their channels. And I wish them luck, but man, it's just so hard. It's hard to say that it's going to do anything because all YouTube has to do is like after the election, they just give them back their channels, and then hey, the lawyers made off with a couple $100,000, and everyone's on their way.
Lawyers, man.
Yeah, I know.
Lawyers, man.
Yep. Lawyers, man. All right, so let's take a quick break. We're running short on time here.
Yeah, we are here. I'm just putting one last little thing. Yeah, I'm ready.
It's break time.
Let's do it. Okay, everybody, here's the thing. We're just going to take a really quick break, but don't go anywhere because, if time serves after the break, we got a couple things to talk about. We got a little, who is this? Ooh, 4 Horsemen, Elon Musk update. Some big things happening over there with Elon we got to pay attention to. And then if Lord willing and the creek don't rise, we got a Nephilim update as well. I was seeing some people in the chat mentioning we have not heard an update from Zoltan Istvan, our favorite cyborg politician recently. Have you seen anything from him? I did a quick search. I couldn't find any new news.
I haven't either. The last I heard, he was being people were going after him because he went surfing during the lockdown.
Oh, yeah. That was the last we heard of him, wasn't it? Oh, no. Maybe they deactivated him.
Deactivated Zoltan.
Hope you're okay, Zoltan.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, no. You can't go swimming with those cyborg parts.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for sticking with us. Thanks for supporting us both emotionally and with your producership while Gonz was off having a baby. And
my wife. I didn't do much. You will learn the male species does very little to contribute to the
something.
I did something. You're right, but
I'm not going to get into it. I'm going to let
process of
the
birth.
Listeners explain that to their children themselves. That's not my place. But yeah, so thank you so much for continued support of the show with your producership. And we want to take some time and thank some of our producers. And producers, if you're new to the show, you might be thinking, there's producers? What the heck is going on here? Well, let me tell you, because we're on the value for value model. That's right, folks. You may notice that we did not spend the first 10 minutes of the show reading advertisements and giving out affiliate links for, anything. And that's on purpose, because the way the world is going right now with big data, the advertising industry, well, that's something I like to call global theology. That's advertising. And it's all wrapped up in economics and big data, in privacy concerns, all sorts of problems. And it also incentivizes content producers like Gonz and I to consider you, dear listener, as not a human being with a life and emotions and thoughts of your own, but as a number, as a commodity, that's right, as cattle to be loaded up on a truck and sold to a big corporation for our own personal gain. We're incentivized, motivated to gain your trust and your attention and sell it to big corporations for our own personal gain. And we just don't think that's a very good idea. We believe that that's kind of what's wrong with the world today. If not directly responsible for some of the evils going on, it is at least, indirectly responsible for all sorts of bad things going on. But much more important things than just us taking a few minutes out of our show to sell you Swiffer wet jets. But because of this, we now subscribe to the value for value model. That's right. It respects you and gives you an opportunity to invest in your own media future. This is your chance to either continue being advertised to, commoditized, deprivatized, and sold so you can, watch a free something or other, or you have the opportunity to, when something gives your life value, you can turn around and put some value back into that thing. It's a rebellion against the global theology of advertising and taking advantage of people just trying to get media that serves them. And we sure hope that this media serves you. And we are going to thank some people who have decided that this show is worth keeping around, because really, it's our producers that are the only people keeping this show running. Let me tell you what. And so let's do that. You are a producer. That's what it is. This is the real life, folks. You're not just a donor. You're not just being given out a couple bucks or whatever. Whatever the show is worth to you, you have the opportunity to put it back into the show, keep the show going, keep it growing, and keep on trucking here. So I will say the first way that you can become a producer of the show is by going to patreon.com/CCNT, that for Canary Cry News Talk, patreon.com/CCNT. I am both happy and sad to announce, sad because it's sad and happy because the show goes quicker. There are no new producers on the Patreon to report, Gonzo. But that's okay, because patreon.com/CCNT is not the only way to support the show. In fact, one of the best ways to do that is by going to canarycryradio.com/support.
CanaryCryRadio.com.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right, canarycryradio.com/support. There's PayPal options there. You can come in with a monthly producership, or if commitment is not your thing, you can give a one-time producership in any amount. There's also cryptocurrency options and all sorts of fun stuff like that. And I do, again, want to thank the producers who came in during Baby Week last week, both supporting the show and supporting that new little mouth to feed over there, Gonz. I'm thinking, what do you want to do? Do you want to just take all these? Should we split them? What do you think?
We can just go through these. I mean, I'll take them. I'll take the
Let's do it.
brunt here because there's a good handful. Thank you all the recurring supporters that have used the PayPal, and there's a couple new recurring, so we'll get to you here. Let's see. First off, Nico. Thank you, Nico.
Producer Nico. Thank you very much.
Coming in as with the PayPal support. Next up, producer Steve. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, producer Steve. Very generous.
Yes, and I don't know if he goes by Steven, but if he does,
Steven!
Thank you for that. Producer Jean-Pierre.
Ooh, producer Jean-Pierre. Thank you very much.
He had a note. I love the show. Accept this small gift from, what is that? JP. Yeah, Jean-Pierre at maninforesthill.com. So there you go, maninforesthill.com. Check it out. That's one of our producers. Next up, Zero Sum Records.
Ooh.
Yeah, record companies getting in there. So,
yeah, that's cool. I think they've produced before, but thank you very much. Producer Zero Sum Records.
Yep, Google it. Thank you for that. Next up, producer Cynthia.
Thank you very much, Cynthia.
Thank you, producer Cynthia. And she has a note here, 50 to Monty and 50 to the baby. God bless EXO. So yeah, half of it goes to you. Although
goes to my cat, my ailing cat.
Yeah. So yeah, just as important are the cats as newborn humans. So thank you, Cynthia. Very generous. We appreciate it. Next up, we have, I love this, Volodymyr coming in with $33.
Ooh, the 33 producership. Thank you very much, Vladimir.
Do you think that's how you actually spell it, or do you think that's like a
Volodymyr?
Yeah, Volodymyr. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know anything about it. But thank you, producer Volodymyr.
Yeah, very cool. It took me a second to get the name right, but there you go.
Yeah, this is the first time I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
That's something else.
Yep, something else. All right. Next up, thank you, producer Tristan. Coming in.
Thank you very much, producer Tristan.
Yep. Next up, we have a lot of them. I apologize. We're going through these quickly, but there's
a couple. Handful. This is a whole week's worth.
Yeah, week's worth. So this one was from producer Vicky. Thank you, producer Vicky.
Thank you, producer Vicky.
And producer Vicky coming in with $10.28. That's to give homage to the 1028.
It's the Keizo birthday producership.
Which after we go through this list, I'll give you a couple interesting factoids about October 28th for all the listening members out there. So thank you, Vicky. Next up, Adam.
Thank you very much, producer Adam.
Thank you, producer Adam. And that's a $10.28 support there. Congratulations, Gonz. Hope everything goes well for you and your family. Many are praying for y'all. Guesses for your Twitch name. Okay, so by the way, I was in the Twitch chat for Basil's live stream, and I did not give it away. I didn't give away who I was. So his guess, number 1, I'm Shredda. And guess number 2, Chuck Fighter 1, I think. And guess number 3 is Q2V8A9I9. And I'm sorry, Adam, none of those are correct.
None of those were correct.
None of those were correct.
I did see him in the chat. He does have a third guess.
Or fourth one?
Yes, a fourth guess. Okay. It's an unofficial guess, but not a whole lot of people made a guess.
Okay.
He did, I forget what exactly it was. It was like DJ Peace.
No.
Oh, dang. I thought that was it, too.
Yeah.
Because DJ Peace came in and thanked me for coming to work. It was very suspicious.
Yeah. But nope, not it.
Okay.
Nice try, though. Keep trying. And it's going to be harder for me to be in there while I'm doing the show.
Are you going to keep it secret? Are we not? I guess that you would need to make another secret account.
I'll have to secretly be chatting in there while I do the show. So
but if somebody guesses it, though, you have to give it
away. Yeah, if somebody guesses it, I'll give myself up. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Keep trying. Next up, producer Hannah. Thank you, producer Hannah.
Thank you very much, producer Hannah.
1028. Congratulations, Gon. Thank you, Hannah. And Hannah again, bringing in 15 for Monty and Basil. Praying for you, buddy. So a double.
Thank you very much, producer Hannah.
Double support from producer Hannah. And the next one, I think this is the executive producer here, from producer Emily.
Woo! Producer Emily.
She moved the decimal point of the 1028. It's very generous, $102.80. And she says, to Gonz's new baby, blessings to you and your family. May our King Yeshua keep you and your family safe under his wings.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Emily. Really appreciate that, and our family appreciates it. Next up, we have producer Jessica.
Thank you very much, producer Jessica.
She came in with the 1028. Congrats on your little baby boy, Gonz. Big prayers and many blessings. Thank you, producer Jessica. And we also have producer Jonathan. Woo! He came in. He's a new recurring producer, so thank you for that.
Nice. At $3.33. He's the 33 club there.
Yeah, Club 33. Taking it over. Move aside, Disney. We're the real 33 club. That we're going to get. Someone's going to clip that.
Yeah, there you go. That's your downfall right there.
Context, people, context. And lastly, we have Charlie, producer Charlie. Thank you so much. She switched it around. It was $28.10. Congratulations, Gonz. Welcome to the world, baby Canary Queso. I like that, Canary Queso.
Thank you very much, producer Charlie. She came in during the show.
And just as a little side note, Queso, who was born on October 28th, he shares a birthday, or at least the day that the birthday is celebrated, of a man named Kano Jigoro, who is the founder of judo. So pretty intense.
Yeah, okay.
And furthermore, to go even further, he also shares a birthday with Tokugawa Yoshinobu. He was the last shogun in Japan.
Really?
Yeah, we're starting to back up.
That's pretty cool. That's a cool birthday to share.
We're bringing back the shogun. Also, Bernie Ecclestone, the founder of Formula One. Big deal.
Wow.
Big deal.
Yeah. Big deals all around.
And this one, I'm considering it a takeover as well. He shares a birth with Bill Gates.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we got to remember that one.
I know. I was like, no. But also I was like, you're going down, Billy Gates. So, yeah.
The child is born.
The child is born. Exactly. Taking you down. And one more notable person is Ahmadinejad. I didn't say that right. The Iranian, what is he? The president of Iran?
Leader, I don't know what he is.
He's the guy in Iran, the leader of Iran. So a lot to live up to, their little baby Queso. But I think God's got it. He's got it.
Yeah.
So thank you to all the supporters and all the people who came in with the 1028.
Lots of love during Baby Week.
Yes, lots of love. We really appreciate it. Got my wife through a lot of the pain, the physical pain that they bear. It was a good encouragement coming from the people. And thank you very much. Really appreciate it. You still there, Basil?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Just making sure.
I thought you were going to go straight into jingles.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we should do that. We there's nobody from crypto. We don't have any knights tonight or dames. But we did have a couple of entries for our the other ways you can become a producer on the show, which is with your talent. And we did get a jingle, and this one was from Michael. And Michael put together this Dark Winter jingle.
We're about to go into a dark winter. A dark winter. We're about to go into a dark winter. And he has no
That's a
good.
jam, man.
It
I like
is a
that
jam.
one. That slaps.
I can see Kamala, bouncing to
gosh.
that beat and
Our
laughing.
next president, Kamala
Our
Harris.
next president. Yeah, so there you go. Thank you very much, producer Michael, for sending that in. Really appreciate it. And of course, we have to go on to the next part of the talent entries from our producers.
One art, please.
We always love the art, and we have a couple of them, I think they're first timers here, but if you're looking at the screen, or if you're not, you can go to canarycrynewstalk.com to check them out. The first one here is from Russell. This one is called Days of Noah, and it takes one of those classical paintings of a giant, a giant humanoid, and I don't know what the era of the painting is from. I think it's like Renaissance paintings or something.
Yeah, it's like another composition. He does these great compositions on Photoshop or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's he actually explained it in his email.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull it up here. You keep describing it. Let me
see if I
can
it's
pull up the email.
It's one of those old paintings of the giant, trying to pick up a female, but it also has with a kind of transparently overlaid an alien or your typical gray type of face, and also the 33. And I think there's more there. It's kind of hard to make out.
No, he did not describe it, but
okay.
yes, it's
got like a psychedelic thing going on with
yeah,
some of the colorful transparency stuff going on. I think it's another dimension type thing that he's trying to
like
convey.
Shimmering things. Yeah, he's got 33 coming through in a few places. I think this painting is either he described. I must have looked it up when you sent it in. This painting is specifically, I think, regarding Genesis 6.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it's an old painting.
Yeah, that's a trippy one.
Yeah.
Nice job, Russell.
Yeah, good job, Russell. Appreciate it. Thank you for that one. And the next one we have is from 88, and this one is called Game Week, and it's got Basil.
So this is 88. He specifically mentioned, he said, I didn't have a lot of time, but I sketched this out real quick for you. This was after last Monday's show when I played Robo Recall for everybody here. And it's me in canary form with my headset on there. Reflecting in my headset is a classic video game sort of form from, what was that called? Galactica?
Okay.
Space Invaders?
Yeah, I think it's Space Invaders.
For those. Yeah. And I'm eating Doritos, a classic gamer treat. And there's a Dorito falling out of my mouth that has a little all-seeing eye on it there. So I'm munching on the Illuminati. And he was very good. I'm holding a PlayStation controller, which he knows my preferences. So thank you very much, Russell. Always a pleasure. Even on your quick doodles, really brought a lot of joy to my life.
Yes, very good stuff. Game Week by 88. So thank you for that one. And let's move on. We also got one from Allie, one of our prolific producers. And she has episode 260. It's a pretty good rendering of Monty. It's called Monty Takes Over. And I think it's in reference
this
to...
This one was great.
Yeah, it's in reference to you taking over the stream.
Yes, this is when I took over the stream when there was a chance that I was going to try to do a full episode to myself, which I didn't end up doing, but still very good. This is Monty 3, the youngest Monty. And it says episode 260 at the top there. Monty's sitting in the chair, and it's done in the style of the live stream setup. So on the left, we've got the chat window going through, and she did a very good job. She actually used real chatters. We've got Island Girl 21, Dame Island Girl at the top. What did I miss? Then who do we got here? I got to make it bigger.
Steph Fudd 82.
Steph Fudd 82. Did he just wink? Yes, he does wink a lot. Then
Jay
who do we
Vella.
got there? Jay Vella, yes. Blink if you can see us. Old Tabox, thanks, Cat. Daddy Fauci, was it aliens? Basil's actual wife, Monty, 2, 3. I know, it's always a question. Ebony Blaze, Basil 2. Flippy Official made an appearance. You look so wise. And then down there at the bottom was Mom with Sword and Shield saying, "Hey, Mr. Cat, is Basil there?" Yes. Once the cats take over, there's no more human interference. Basil was not there.
No. Then it will really be the takeover, and it'll be over. It will really be over.
Yes.
The show will officially end.
So thank you very much, Producer Allie, Gazel and Bonds in the chat. Always a pleasure to get that art coming in.
Yes, thank you, Producer Allie. And lastly, we have Producer Peter. And this one is pretty cool. It's got Sir Knight Basil and Sir Samurai Gonz.
This one was great. And Peter, I think, is a first-time art producer here and did a great job. And for those who are just listening, there's myself on the left. I got my headset on, full armor, full knight's armor, big sword, canary on my shoulder there.
Cats around your legs.
Some cats scratching at my legs. And on the right is Gonz in full stoic samurai pose, looking very epic. And great style here, Peter. Loving it. It says Canary Cry News Talk. This looks like it might be T-shirt worthy.
I think so, yeah.
I think so. I really enjoyed this. This came in pretty early in Baby Week last week. I just had fun looking at it a whole bunch. So thank you very much, Producer Peter. Please keep at it, buddy. Send us more.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's all the artwork we have for today. We want to thank That Night Wind for continuing to do the timestamps. We really appreciate that. Also visit canarycrymerchperch.com. That's where hopefully as Producer Dust, as he can, we can get some of this artwork onto t-shirts and other objects, swag, and you can help.
Have you been over there? I haven't been over there recently.
I haven't been over there in a little bit either. I can probably check.
Yeah, I'm going to go check right now. I know, it ain't easy getting all this stuff set up. So I was just going to see if there's any new stuff. Oops. Canary Cry. Oh, that's not right. Well,
Canary
you
Cry
might beat me.
Perch. I don't see anything new there yet. I see the mug.
I know he's working on it, though, so keep checking back.
Keep checking.
Canary Cry Merch Perch is a great family-run operation. Everything is sold at cost, but you have an opportunity to tip the webmaster, which please consider doing that because you need to. We got to keep it going. You can tip the artist, or you can tip Gonz or myself. It's a great little system there.
Yes, absolutely. So, check it out. canarycrymerchperch.com. I'm going to type that into the chat so people can check it out. And let's wrap it up here because we're way past time here.
Yes, I did want to mention, I want to, I don't have it open. So I was while I was checking, oh man, I'm losing my voice.
Your throat. The Rona gotcha.
Yeah, something's getting me. All this talking. While I was looking up our charts and doing everything like that last week, while I had some extra time, I checked. I just did a kind of a deep Google search to see if anybody was mentioning us. Not a whole lot of mentions recently. I don't know. We'll have to get some journalists or something to write some stories about us or something. But I did stumble across a Reddit thread, and the Reddit thread mentioned, oh man, and I cannot make this big enough to read it. Hold on. Basically, the question on the Reddit was, what's a podcast that changed your life? And somebody put in Canary Cry News Talk. That's right. We're changing lives, Gonz.
That's good. That's good because I just looked up Canary Cry and Reddit just to see if I can find the actual thread. And the first one that popped up. The one that popped up was, I was like, what is this? The headline or the thread is titled, "Let's Talk About the Poop Writing in Canary Cry." And I was like, well, what is this? But it's about the character.
Comic book.
Yeah.
Okay.
So good.
That's
Nobody.
Funny. I want to give props to who this is. but I am having the darndest time
trying to see it.
I can't make it bigger on our notes there. Are you able to make that bigger and look at it?
Yes, I think. Well, hold on. Yeah, I can, but it's such a small.
I know, it's so tiny. Now I can't find the screenshots that I took on my computer.
Truth Kim or something?
Oh, gosh.
I think it's True. Yeah, Truth or Kim or something?
That sounds right.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
when I'm able to get it back, thank you again for mentioning us on Reddit. It's always nice to know somebody's paying attention out there.
Yeah.
Outside of our own little safe circle.
Or safe space.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right,
let's
time to wake up.
Let's wake up.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Okie dokie, folks. Let's get back to the story here. Let's see. Yeah, we already mentioned Zoltan. We don't know what he's up to. But let's do a quick check-in with one of the 4 horsemen of the Technocalypse.
The 4 horsemen of the Technocalypse.
Anytime you see the 4 horsemen, it's something special.
You are already sort of a cybernetic symbiote. Neural nets are taking over from regular programming. So you are connected.
You are connected. This is from LATimes.com. SpaceX starts rolling out Starlink internet, hoping it'll fund Mars flights. That's right, folks. The time we've all been waiting for, we've been tracking for years, is finally happening. And the article reads like this. SpaceX, having established a formidable reputation in rocket launches, is starting to roll out what it hopes will be an even more muscular arm of its business, broadband internet service. The Elon Musk-led company has released pricing for a public beta test of its Starlink broadband internet service, which is beamed to users via small satellites. A Texas school district and other local government entities are already using it. Now the service is being offered to a select group of individual consumers. Eventually, customers might include entire countries. Under the test called the Better Than Nothing beta program.
Elon, man.
You gotta hand it to Elon, man.
He just knows how to really
it's
grab
better
their
than
attention.
nothing beta program. Initial service for the U.S. and Canada is aimed to start this year with near global coverage of the populated world, set to occur in 2021. According to the official description of an app developed by SpaceX that's intended to help users set up and monitor their Starlink service. SpaceX did not respond to a request for comment. The monthly subscription cost for the beta program is $99. That's pretty modest. Users will also need to make a single payment of $500 for the hardware. Okay, not so modest, including a user terminal, mounting tripod, and Wi-Fi router. The pricing, first reported by CNBC, was detailed in emails to potential beta program users. In its early stages, service might be slow. So far, SpaceX has launched more than 800 of the small satellites that will power its broadband network. A SpaceX executive said last year that the Hawthorne company could provide coverage across the U.S. with only 720 satellites, and that 1,800 satellites would be needed to provide service to most of the world. The so-called constellation could eventually number as many as 30,000 satellites in low orbit. Astronomers have expressed concern that light bouncing off the satellites could affect telescope images. SpaceX has said it would put experimental coatings on the satellites to reduce their brightness. I had not read that. That's interesting. Put some of that ultra black paint on it or something.
We reported on this about a year ago.
I remember talking about the problems with the astronomers. I don't remember that they were actually doing anything to fix it, though.
Yeah, we reported on the story like a week after the problem was, public.
SpaceX sees its Starlink broadband service as a major potential revenue stream. Last year, Musk told reporters that revenue from providing internet service could total in $30 billion a year, while launch revenue will probably top out at about $3 billion a year. Quote, "We see this as a way for SpaceX to generate revenue that can be used to develop more advanced rockets and spaceships," Musk said at the time. Quote, "We think this is a key stepping stone on the way to establishing a self-sustaining city on Mars and a base on the moon." And at its beta testing price, analysts said the service could be viewed favorably in the United States, particularly in areas where internet access is difficult or impossible to come by. Some of Starlink's early users include the Ector County Independent School District in Texas, the Ho Tribe in Western Washington, and Washington's Emergency Management Division, which tweeted last month that Starlink service helped emergency responders as they started to rebuild the town of Malden after a wildfire. These partnerships show that Starlink's customer base won't consist of only consumers looking for home internet service, said Chad Anderson, managing partner at early-stage venture capital fund Space Capital, which is a SpaceX investor through its Space Angels fund. Space. Quote, there's a huge market for these types of remote operations, he said. For his part, the $99 monthly cost is cheaper than his home internet service in New York City, which is about $160 a month for what he describes as pretty decent fiber connectivity. SpaceX's Starlink beta pricing is in the ballpark of other internet service providers. The difference is the slower speed, says Jeff Kagan, a wireless and telecom analyst in Atlanta. But for customers who don't have other options, Starlink service would be better than nothing, he said. And the article goes on, but I don't think there's anything important to talk about there. More or less, Starlink is operational, Gonzo.
Yeah, are you going to beta test? Are you going to be part of the better than nothing beta test?
No, my standards have raised in my old age.
Oh, wow.
Better than nothing is just slightly below what I need, because with the slow, I can't do this show with a slow connection.
Yeah, Elon's marketing must have failed on you. It should have been like a little better than bad.
I personally have pretty good internet here. You might be interested in using the beta test.
Yeah.
You are better than nothing is right about where you're sitting at right now.
I know.
Although things have worked out pretty good this show, better than we expected.
Yeah, it's staying alive. But I always, I have these conversations with my neighbor, who's I'm a little more of a normie type. But we talk about Elon and stuff, and I always say I don't get into all the craziness, but it's interesting because I was like, so Elon's got this company that's running SpaceX. Then he's got the Boring Company, digging underground bases or whatever.
Yeah.
Then he has Tesla, which is cars and automatic, driving and all that stuff that's connected to the internet in the future. Then he has Starlink, which is the internet in our skies. And then he has Neuralink, which is supposed to be a microchip in your brain. Something's up with this guy. And my neighbor was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even... they hadn't even thought about...
Didn't even realize.
No, didn't realize that Elon had his hand in all these different pots, and is coming together with this huge totalitarian thing. So, yeah, it was kind of interesting to have that conversation and him being like, whoa, you're right. What is up with that guy? And
he's everywhere.
He's everywhere. So, just something to keep in mind. And, he might go down as... the Antichrist, let's just be honest. He might be the guy. Or at least like the false prophet, He's going to be the guy that resurrects the guy who says he's the Messiah and then dies. And then Elon's like, oh, let me, bleep, blop, blop. And then boom, he's alive.
At the very least, we know the Antichrist will drive a Tesla.
in space, apparently.
And we'll probably have a Neuralink chip.
Yeah, at the least. So, all right. Well, just something to keep in mind here because something's up with that guy, Elon. How does he have time to do all this? There's just no way one guy can be like, hey.
Man. It's the clones.
It's the clones.
It's the Elon clones get most of it done.
Illuminati.
Yeah.
Illuminati. Is that
having anyways. Let's keep going.
Okay. Well, let's wrap up this episode with a Nephilim update. This is NJ.com. Blood of Zeus. New Netflix series from NJ Brothers is an epic fit for the gods. So I might have to check this out. I'm not going to read the story here, but basically the NJ Brothers have put together this thing called Blood of Zeus. It's it's just steeped in Greek mythology. But that's not really the interesting thing, because these brothers, there's a picture here, Vlas and Charles Parlapanides, which grew up in Seaside Park and went on to write for TV and film. And the interesting part is that, they have Blood of Zeus out right now, but they're working on something a little bit more interesting. If I scroll down all the way to the bottom here, it says... Next up, the duo is working on a live-action movie script for MGM about Nephilim.
Ooh.
Biblical figures who are half-angel. They're also developing an anime series about another classical Greek character, Medusa. So keep an eye on NJ Brothers, these guys that produce stuff. Because, if you really think about it, with this last, I guess this is the pandemic, so to speak, the pandemic special, Hollywood, traditional Hollywood in its form, current form or past form, it kind of died.
It's
really
gonzo.
It's dead.
Yeah.
And so you're going to have these a new wave of producers of Hollywood-ish. It's not going to be exactly Hollywood now because distribution has changed, but people on Netflix and these type of productions, and I think the topics are going to be very much rooted in a lot of the stuff that we talk about. Not that it's not already. It's already, well into that stuff, and on Netflix especially.
Well, it's
being
giving
more specific.
The independent people a chance to get into the industry is what it is. And, usually it's the independent people that kind of have these weird sort of offbeat ideas. They might take their ideas from their favorite podcasters and not give them any credit or cut them in on the royalties. We've seen it before, not naming any names, but, it happens. It happens. So if you're out there and you're going to get into the new, opening of the entertainment industry to more independent people, make sure to include your buddies Basil and Gonz. Come on. We got to have some sort of deal go through here.
We can be advisors, to shape the narrative of the stories.
Consultants. We need to be consultants is what it is.
Yeah.
Both of us have our, not only do we have the credentials from doing 8 coming on 9 years of this podcast, digging deep and talking to the real professionals, but we know how the industry works. We can make this happen. You just got to get us that consultant paycheck, baby.
Yeah, because we've been talking about how we can weave in current themes into these ancient stories, and obviously sneak in Jesus, try to get Jesus in there.
Gotta do it.
Yeah, yep. Because
whatever happened to that asteroid that was going to hit? Any news on that?
I haven't seen. We looked it up before the show and couldn't find anything.
I thought there was an
official.
Asteroid that was supposed to hit today.
Yeah, well, still here. You can thank the Nephilim gods for spanking it away.
Oh my gosh. Take him down, folks.
Like a baseball bat.
Down. Clip it. Get him.
It was a home run. Okay.
All right. I think we did it.
Yep. I think we got through it.
There we go. We did a show. We're back on the roll. Back on the roll. Is that a thing?
I don't know. But
we're on a roll. Whee! Back on our pseudo-regular schedule, of course. Things will be a little shaky as Gonz settles in with the baby and things like that. But we're going to be doing our best to get back on a regular schedule, folks. So thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for tuning in. Let's see here. Remember, we're on the value for value model. We cannot continue to do the show without the generous support of our producers. And that's right. I said it, our producers. One thing I didn't mention before, you can put that on your resume, put it on your LinkedIn, give them our email. We will vouch for you. It's a real producership, folks. And there you go. No, I have not yet gotten any reports that anybody's gotten a job from it, but with the new age of the entertainment industry, I think being a producer of a podcast could actually get you somewhere.
Yeah.
So there you go. You can become a producer by heading to patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk, or you can head over to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. CanaryCryRadio.com/support. It's got PayPal options, crypto options. It's a great place to become a supporter of the show, become a producer, because we need producers to make it happen, folks. Thank you for all of our generous producers that supported us over Baby Week. We will keep you posted as things develop. And thank you to all of our artists as well, artists and musicians. And if you're out there and you're an artist and you're a musician, you can become a producer of the show as well. That's right. Make a piece of art or a jingle or a song or something regarding, make it Canary Cry News Talk themed and send it in to us. You can send that to canarycryradio@gmail.com. We'll get you on the show and give you your producership credit there. And this is great. I can't wait to see what art comes in next. It's always a pleasure. Remember to leave ratings and reviews as well. That's a very important part of this podcast ecosystem here. I know a lot of times you might think, it's not that important. I'm not going to leave a rating and review. I'll leave that to somebody who has an extra 3 minutes in their day. No, you, dear listener, we need your rating and review because we need to convince the podcast algorithms to share the show. It's one of the easiest ways to share the show with tons of people, and it goes really far to getting us on those podcast charts that I was mentioning earlier. Those Australians, man, they got us up to number 59 in all of Australian news, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So if you want to help us out, the easiest way to do it is just Google or DuckDuckGo or Bing or whatever you do, whatever search engine you use, search Apple Podcast Canary Cry News Talk. Apple Podcast Canary Cry News Talk. The first hit there will take you to the best place to leave a rating and a review. And I'll be reading ratings and reviews on Fridays, my favorite time of week. And I look forward to getting those. Make them good, folks. We got to get back on the charts. It's been a while since we've had a solid chart standing. But that's what happens when you don't do a show for a week. So there we go. Thank you very much. Don't forget to do that. Now, you can also help out the show a ton by sharing it with the world. Put it on your social media, retweet it, put it on your Facebook, whatever it is. You never know who's going to see it and whose life is going to be changed by Canary Cry News Talk, much like that Reddit user who just let the world know that Canary Cry News Talk changed their life. So go do that. Thank you very much. And lastly, the best way to spread a show is word of mouth. People trust you. People in your life, believe it or not, they trust you, your family, your friends. They're starting to wake up to see that the world is not what they've been told. And the great next step for them to take is to start listening to Canary Cry News Talk. So let them know. And if you need any other instructions, here's what you do. You walk right up to them, you grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right, folks. Just ask Noah. Now, remember, stick around after the show here. We're going to have the Canary Cry mixtape, which is all original music by producers of the show. It's a good time. There's always some sort of dance party. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Gonz, any last words?
Just a quick update on the attack. It's spreading. There's 6 different shooting locations in Vienna. A gunman carrying an explosive belt and bag filled with ammunition shot outside St. Rupert's Church.
Oh my gosh.
Austrian chancellor says definitely a terrorist attack because he said it was a terrorist attack.
What is going on in Austria?
I don't know. Vienna police conference, at least one attacker still on the run. So we'll update everybody on that probably the next episode after.
I gotta do some research on current events in Austria. What could possibly be happening there?
Yeah, pretty crazy.
All right, folks. Well, stay safe and stay sane, and make sure to tune in next time. That will be November 4th, Wednesday. Ooh. Oh my gosh, the election is tomorrow.
Yep.
I know. Tomorrow's going to be an exciting day, folks. So stay on the edge of your seats. Make sure to follow me on Twitter. I'll probably be letting off some steam during the election there. Follow me at Basil_Rosewater. You just do it. I need more followers. Thank you very much. And I need. Never mind. Do it. Follow me on Twitter. Election tomorrow. Stay safe. Stay sane. Next show Wednesday, November 4th. I'm sure there will be a lot to talk about on Wednesday, folks. So put it on your calendar. Turn on notifications. You need to make sure your notifications are on for this one. All right. So make sure to tune in next time to Canary Cry News Talk. But until then, folks, remember to think outside the cage.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
I want to shake things up, shake things up. I want to shake things up, shake things up. Leave the bird alone. I want to stir up some controversy. I want to rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
Fun fact, I believe it was another fun fact. Fun fact. Another fun fact.
Brings me back to my Screamo days.
Do pot, that's where I started.
Light up a huge blunt.
A joint.
Give everybody
magic
mushrooms. Smoke. The CIA, I mean, lots of intelligence agencies have tested secretly dosing communities. LSD.
Psychoactive pills should be covertly administered.
Just put me on some, I don't know.
You shot in the butt, fluoride, oxytocin, get a chemical hug.
I did dabble, some of that robot crack. I know what it's like.
It's a lethal recipe for disaster. You need help.
If you're a pharmacist, you need to repent.
All right, weird.
future humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
People, I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo. I'll keep you safe and warm now in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you in my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on. People's zoo.